So this week, continuing on the thread of women in film, I'm going to talk to you today about the Bechdel test. Hannah did a really good job on Tuesday of talking about some of the very typical female tropes in film and looking at sort of the very stereotypical characters played by women and how women are often not perceived to be of very much depth, and there is very specific categories that women in film play into. And today I want to talk about the distinct lack of female characters and whether or not these females interact on a more meaningful basis. So if you've never heard of the Bechdel test before, there's a really good video that's very in-depth about the Bechdel test by Feminist Frequency, and you can look at it in the link below. It talks about modern media and the Bechdel test and whether or not certain Academy-nominated films actually pass this test. So what it is very, very basic. Rule 1, are there more than 2 female characters in this film or show or book, whatever? 2, do these characters ever talk to each other? 3, do these characters talk to each other about something more than men? It's become a very mainstream and very prominent feminist rule for being able to judge the quality of women represented in media. So it might seem that, wow, it's totally strange. I talk to my female friends about things more than men on a regular basis. I talk to my mom about certain things more than men, and I have in-depth conversations with the people around me. What's startling is that if you actually start looking at a lot of popular movies and shows, these conversations don't happen. So if we look at some really popular movies and films, and if I even look at my own favorite movies, very few of them actually pass the test, because a lot of the time when 2 women or more than 2 women get together, oftentimes they're talking about their relationships and their love lives, and sometimes they talk about their kids, and sometimes they talk about marriage, but a lot of the times their conversations never really get past this certain point. There's a really good link, it's the BechdelsTest.com, also here, and it has a really good, fairly comprehensive list of movies and whether or not they pass the certain levels of the test. When we start analyzing mainstream media with this Bechdel test and we realize how much of it fails, we start seeing how really problematic mainstream media can be and how it is. And if we look at things for our young children or teenagers, or even as a young woman myself, not being able to find people that adequately represent my thoughts and my feelings or me in my media. And so where that becomes problematic is that people start internalizing this, and people really see that, well, women aren't very substantial, or there aren't very many women out there that play prominent roles in society, because the media reflects the roles that women play in society. It's very difficult to move forward because women don't see examples of roles that they can fulfill. If we look at any sort of Disney film, we can quickly just run through our head. Yes, there's usually more than 2 female characters, but often the actual plot of the movie is centered around love and romance, and due to heteronormativity, these romances are always between the main character who is female and then the main character who is male. Take The Little Mermaid, for example. Then yes, there are more than 2 women, but Ariel and Ursula are talking about her ability to get this man to love her. And if we look at even more contemporary stories, we see these same sort of themes repeating. Surprisingly, even the last Harry Potter films don't pass the Bechdel test, because although there are really strong female characters in it, they don't often interact. There is hope, however. I've been seeing a few more films coming out recently that have more main female characters or more groups of female characters that interact. If we look at movies like Brave, if we look at movies like The Help, those are movies that came out recently and were very, very popular, but also incorporate more different relationships that women have with each other. So keep your eye out for films that do pass the Bechdel test, and if you find any more, please let me know in comments below. And also make sure that when you're consuming media, you realize that, hey, this isn't very accurate representation of women in my life, and maybe it's time that we say and do something about it and push for more accurate representation of women in the media. So we'll see you next week. Hannah, I will see you tomorrow! I'm so excited, and Hannah and I are going to be making more videos for everyone this weekend, and those will be up next week, and we're really excited about them. They're going to be really fun. So we'll talk to you later. Bye.